Greetings, viewer. I am Doctor Gallow. Tonight on Tales from the Witch House, an incy-wincy story about a man who finds himself in a sticky situation.
I'm hungry. There's not a thing left to eat in this goddamn house. Nothing to fill me up. But don't worry. The pizza guy should be here soon. Let me tell you a story. I didn't believe the legends were true. The spider people, the Jorogumo. I didn't believe any of it. And even when I was on the plane to Japan, I was thinking about all those dumb fucks who tune into the show, week in, week out, looking for monsters that don't exist. And I was thinking about their money, too. Even while I was walking through that old forest and the guide refused to carry on, and I could see the fear in his eyes, I didn't buy it. I saw the vast tunnel of web going through the trees and bushes, but I still didn't believe while I stood there, taking pictures and trying to come up with some bullshit way to sell this fable to the subscribers. I don't think I even really started to believe when she ran out of that black hole faster than the devil on all 8 of her legs, a human foot at the end of each one. A woman-made spider. A spider made human flesh. She had light brown skin, and it felt soft when she wrapped herself around me. Her kiss was not. It felt like being stabbed with a hot knife, right in the middle of my chest. I lay there for hours, paralyzed and in agony, sure I was going to die. And then it was nighttime, and the cool air felt good on my fevered skin, and I managed to pull myself up. She was lying on her back nearby, her legs all bent inward over her belly like an old arthritic hand, clutching at nothing at all. I dreamed of webs and legs and fucking something unseen, and when it was over, I was lying in my hotel room. The fat fly that was buzzing around landed on my face while I lay sweating on the bed, and I instinctively slapped it flat against my forehead. Then, a new instinct kicked in, and I sucked its squishy remains off my fingers and swallowed them down. I waited for the gagging my mind warned me was inevitable, but it never came. By the time I stepped off the plane at JFK, I knew what was happening. My sides ached terribly, and 4 lumps had appeared, one on either side of my belly, and one at either side of my ribs. They felt infected, full of juice. They had grown fast like an aggressive cancer, but these lumps were no tumors. They hurt and they itched. The new parts of me that were growing itched to be free. When I arrived home, my wife knew something was up as soon as I walked in. She said I looked shorter and that I looked like shit. I told her I should quarantine in the attic. Something I picked up in Japan. An illness could be contagious. No doctors. I'll ride it out upstairs. I was shorter. My head was closer to my shoulders because my neck had started to retract like I was a fucking turtle. Insects, they have a head, a thorax, and an abdomen. The head of an arachnid, though, is part of its thorax. It's funny what you remember from your school days sometimes. I told her to bring me steaks. She offered to cook them, but I told her I would use the camping stove and leave the roof window open, so she just left them at the bottom of the ladder. I would descend slowly, spastically as my new limbs learned their job to collect the hunks of cow several times a day, and I would suck them dry of that sweet plasma. The two black jointed barbs that now protrude from either side of my jaw are like straws, but I could sense they had another purpose, and one that I was eager to try. I leave webs wherever I go. I don't fully understand where they come from. I make no conscious effort. Maybe from the hands at the ends of all my legs. I wonder why I have those when she had feet. It doesn't matter. I am what I am. Soon, the attic was covered in silk as if someone had stuck dusty sheets to everything. I could get anywhere. I'd made a web nest up in the corner of the ceiling where I would sit and wait for a mouse to trip one of the strands. The black spine things that had sprouted from my back and body were sensitive to the tiniest vibrations from the interconnected strings that covered my new home. I could pinpoint where the movement had come from in a second, and be on top of it almost as fast. I snatched the first mouse and stuck it with my barbs, and they showed me their other trick when the venom started to pump into its squirming little body. Soon it stopped kicking, and I sucked up its insides, now more liquid than meat. After days of licking up the cold, dead blood from the steak packaging, this little fella tasted like heaven. Even as the hunger grew stronger and more insatiable, other beastly desires began to manifest. Uncontrollable and sinister urges. I snatched my wife up into my den as she left more meat at the foot of the ladder. She did not like that. Even less what happened next. When I was done, I whipped her up in another corner of the room so she couldn't escape. I have to keep an eye on her. She's going to be a mother now. My babies are growing inside her, and they're already sucking her nutrients dry. Soon they'll spill out of the egg sac and eat her from the inside. I know she's not dead yet because her eyes still follow me around the room. Her belly is swollen with my offspring, but her body is withered, her flesh the color of a plum, and her cheeks sunken. Who looks like shit now? I best get in position under the porch where I've made another opening. When he rings the bell, I'll spring from the trapdoor and pull him down into the tunnels, and I will feast on his liquefied heart and lungs and brain. My children will come soon, and then they will eat their mother. By night, we will leave our nest and make our way across this neighborhood, this land, this earth, taking more mates, more food. Our scuttling legion will grow and grow until this entire world drowns in blood and web.